Kumbale Express TV olunaku olwali tusinzidde mu kibuga Mbale era nga ensonga gye tuzeeko ensonga ekyasinze okuba nga atenyigiriza Abannayuganda abasinga bafuluma eggwanga lino era nga abantu bangi abafunye obuzibu naddala mu nsonga z'okukusibwa oba kiyite human trafficking mu mawanga naddala abagenda ebuwarabu na wano e Kenya ebiseera bisinga media bakoze documentaries nyingi engeri abantu gye bakusibwamu okuva mu bitundu by'Bududa na Misindwa ne border points eza Malaba ne border points eza wali Busia nga bakukusibwa mu ngeri emenya amateeka nga tebalina travel documents ezibakkiriza okuba nga tebafuluma eggwanga. Mu kino kirimu ebyobulabe bingi kuba oyinza n'okufiirwa obulamu bwo kyekisinga okubeera ddala ekibi naye nga oyita mu buzibu bungi kuba already oba tolina biwandiiko bikwogerako ebiseera ebisinga bayinza n'okuggyako documents zo oba olina passport basobola ogitwala oba olina national ID basobola ogikuggyako n'ebintu ebirala amasimu basobola ogakuggyako kuba ebiseera ebisinga abantu abakusa abantu tebaba na bigendererwa birungi. So nako olwaleero tulina omuntu eyakukusibwako n'afunako obuzibu era mukyo naawona mu ngeri emu oba endala agenda kuba atuwako testimony ye then tufuneeko n'omukyalo omu ng'ono akola n'ekitongole ekimu ekirwanyisa enkukusa y'abantu bafulumya eggwanga Uganda. So tujja kuba tutandikira ndowooza ku mukono gwange ogwa ddyo the right hand omukulu ono asooka atubuuzeeko tusobola okuba nga tetweyongerayo.
Kale mbalamusizza mwena abatulabako mujebale gye mutuusizzaako engalo. Amannya bampita Julia Nongodya nkolanga research policy and advocacy coordinator mu Salvation Army ne project gye bayita anti-human trafficking project. Yes,
Dako side zeenu naawo oyandiika eri abatulaba then tusobola okuba nga tetutandika shows mu butongole.
Abatulaba balamusizaako amanya gange nze Ndagire Joanita nze CEO wa Mwagale Foundation survivor led organization nayo erwanyisa kukukusa abantu ate era esupportinga ne ba survivors.
Tutandikire ewo emboozi yo yali etya ojja otya okufuluma eggwanga oba abantu abakusa abantu okubafulumya eggwanga bakikola batya sooka otubulireko then oluvannyuma tujja kuba tuddako saizi
nga sinaba kugenda nnyo mu mboozi yange nakukusibwa ntya natambula ntya mbadde nsaba nsooka ennyinnyonnyole audience ku human trafficking kubanga wentandikira mu mboozi abasinga bayinza okulowooza nti buli muntu afuluma bw'ati abeera bamukukusizza. Human trafficking in simple terms is the recruitment, harboring or transportation of someone from one place to another for purposes of exploitation. That is the simplest definition. Recruitment okuba kuŋŋaanya, harboring okukuuma oba transportation oba okumutambuza okuva mu kifo ekimu okumuza mu kifo ekirala nga end result omuntu oyo agenda kubeera exploited oba agenda kubeera nga amututte yasinga omumufunamu ng'omuntu ono ajja maliriza nga either obulamu bwe bukoseddwa oba nga ku bye baamugambye baamulimbye. Kakati nze nayitako mu eyo embeera eya trafficking era I'm a survivor of trafficking but I'm an advocate. Like I said, I'm the founder and CEO Mwagale Foundation and I'm also a leader at the executive committee of the Global Migrant Workers Network. Also that network, we work with globally on issues of advocating for rights of migrants, fighting human trafficking and fighting for rights of survivors of trafficking. Kati kangende mu abantu baba kukusa batya, where I'm going to also give a brief of my story. Nze First of all, when nali nkola application y'omulimu, nakola application ndala when byakomekereza nina mulimu mulala, which is being used so much today again. Bakujja eno nga bakugambye sasula sente bweziti. Me, I was like, I didn't pay a lot of money. It was 300,000. Naye waliwo abalala babajjako miliyoni 5 meka we bamala obatuusa mu destination bakujja eno bakugambye ogenda kukola mu hotel oba mu supermarket, wootuuka eri nga okomekereza bakutunze nga malaaya oba nga bakutadde mu kiyumba. So these things are still happening. However, my story is purely trafficking. Kubanga I was trafficked through the border of Busia, Kenya. I boarded a plane to Oman in Kenya. So that one of the hardest problems is that the people who are being trafficked don't know that they are being trafficked. By that time, I didn't know. That's why they managed to traffic me. Okay, I saw signs. There are some signs I saw. I even called my brother because my parents didn't know by the way. And I'll talk about that briefly, that people who take people abroad, in most cases, they tell people, don't tell other people, they might be jealous and negative and even bewitch you and you don't go. But in most cases, when someone uses that statement, they are traffickers. I don't care whether they have an office somewhere or a company, they are traffickers. Because externalization of labor has to be straightforward. There is no need of telling someone, don't tell anyone that you're going abroad. Why wouldn't you? Yet your company is legally fully registered and licensed. So for me, I saw signs, but I didn't mind them. And then I ended up crossing the border, on a border actually, through Busia, and then we reached Kenya. They were convincing me that, oh, no, don't worry. There are other people waiting for you in Kenya. It was very unfortunate that your visa came through Kenya. But it wasn't a mistake. Now I know it wasn't a mistake. They did it on purpose because of reasons best known to them, and also because they were traffickers. Traffickers don't really like going through straight paths. So in Kenya, I reached, and there was a building somewhere in Nairobi city. Actually, I visited that place last year. We had a conference in Kenya, and one of the places I wanted to go and see was that place, and it is still there. It is still there, and I don't know if they still keep people there, but I saw that the place rebranded, but I saw it. I was there. It was a very emotional state because in that place they didn't give us food. They gave us only one meal like this a day. And these people were telling us, we are keeping you here for 3 months. Yet, we left. I left Uganda after these people telling me, your visa is out, but unfortunately it came out from Kenya. But we don't have money for a ticket from Uganda to Kenya. So you will use the road. And then reaching Kenya, they were telling us, you're going to be here for 2-3 months. So me and some other girl, we said, no, we shall not be here. We are not going to lie to people that we are working, yet we are not working. Those are the situations that force girls to go into prostitution. Because they tell people at home, I'm already working, yet you are stuck in a house or a warehouse somewhere. So the people at home are expecting money but you know very well that you're not working, so you have to get a way out. We were kept there, so when we started telling them, no, we are not going to stay here, let us go back to Uganda if there is nothing. Then they said, okay, give us 2 days to 3 days, we shall give you transport and then you go back to Uganda. Me, I told them, if those 3 days elapse when I'm still here and the so-called visa you talked about is not here, I will take myself to police. And traffickers are very connected. Within 2 days, the visa was there. me and that girl who were, putting them on pressure,
station, yes.
telling them, for us, we want to go back home. Our visa came. 2 days. And then we traveled to Oman. At first when I was registering, I registered to go work in the supermarket because they said they had jobs in the supermarkets and hotel. So I was like, okay, any of those that comes. Then on the last minute, they tell me, your visa is back, but I think your passport was... Anyway, I didn't believe that even though I didn't have a lot of idea on human trafficking. But your passport was mixed with those who were requesting to go work as housemaids. So your visa has come out, and the job that was put was housemaid. And when you travel, these people, you can't do any other job. But that was the last minute. Last minute when you are traveling, you can't change your mind. So we traveled, reached there. One thing I don't want to miss in the middle, when those people are booking tickets, or before the tickets, in Kenya, the Kenya airport, I think they somehow know that they traffic people from Uganda. Because we were arrested.
The authorities are aware.
Yes, because we were arrested at the airport, actually. We were arrested, and then some guy came and bailed us out, and we went through the immigration softly, and then boarded.
Was it part of the system?
I don't know. Just like they say, human trafficking is organized crime.
Yes.
You cannot know who is where. You will just see things moving. Chap. Because from between the time we were released and the boarding time, it was very, very slight. But let me tell you, we went through immigration very quickly. Very quickly. Then we boarded. When we reached the plane, these people had the mind to book tickets without food. So everyone in the plane was eating. For us, we were there hungry, looking at people. And then we had long connecting hours.
Yes.
We had to reach Sharjah at I think it was about either midday or 3. And we had to leave the next day at 3 p.m. We didn't eat food on board. They told us, you don't need any money. Now they know that when you remain with some money, you can easily know that this situation is not right. Let me use this money, go back home. They tell you, if you have any money, they will take it at the airport, give it to your friends who are remaining behind. And that's exactly what we did. Enjala ya tuluma. The next day, kusawa mwenda, we boarded to Oman. That was not a very long flight, but still we didn't eat on that flight. We ate after meeting the so-called office driver who picked us from the airport. And at the airport, instead of us handling our passports, this guy who took them all at the airport.
On arrival?
Yes. After going through immigration, the person who came for you goes and picks those passports, and then they be there flashing your passports like this. Then for you, after passing through immigration, you have to come looking at different people flashing passports, and then you find yourself. So he drove us to the office. I know you hear so many people talking about office, and then this particular office had a signpost, and it was like housemaid shop. You don't know how I felt after seeing that signpost. I started telling myself, I wish I listened to myself before leaving Kampala when I suspected that something was wrong. And also in Kenya, it was not too late to go back home. Easily. But there, I had no return because I couldn't do anything. As far as Oman, this is a country I've never been in. I don't know anything. It was my first time to travel, so I was so ignorant about a lot of things. But when I saw this housemaid shop thing, that's when I realized that I didn't know that it was trafficking, but I told myself, oh, so the slave trade we studied about at school is being dressed up as labor externalization, and it's being practiced on people. So that's when I started to realize that I've been sold, like, yeah. And at that so-called office, they had a room. It had glass, so you could either stand or sit in front of that glass so that people outside there see you. You know, you're put on display like goods. So people come from outside, see you, and then they point on who they want. Yeah, like window shopping, eh? And for us, we were better because there were those who were picked every morning. There are some companies, you know, when you're going, they have grades, especially according to your sizes. The big ones suffer because most of them don't like, most of these Arabs don't like the big ones. So they give them to these people who don't have a lot of money in most cases. So those who, some of those who are not put in offices and picked there are taken to markets. But there is a time when we talked so much about that housemaid market in Saudi Arabia, and I think they have closed it, or it's still operating secretly, because there is a time BBC unveiled that market. They used to take girls there, put them in groups. Now this group is for Ugandan, this one is for Kenyans, this one is for Nigerians. So whoever, like, you know how you find tomato stalls, emidaala gy'ennyaanya, nti zino ennyaanya nze nina omudaala gwange naawe olina ogugwo n'oli alina ogugwo. Difference eriwo eri nti nze omudaala gwange gwe Uganda, omudaala gwo gwa Kenya, omudaala gwo gwa Tanzania, aha, oba gwa Ethiopia, oba gwa Philippines. Naye ba Philippines bambi government yaabwe efubye. The government has fought so much because under the Global Migrant Workers Network we also have Filipinos. They have tried. They're still on the way, but at least their people are better. So for us, that's how we were sold. Yeah, we were sold in the so-called high class, where they could come for window shopping, like you're looking at a dress and you feel like, I think I should go inside and pick that dress. Yeah, so that's how it was. Secondly, the money they said they were going to pay is not the money they were paying. Yes, but I was half lucky that at least the family that I was working with could pay, but many people were not paid at all. But for me, at least I was paid, though not the amount that I was told I'm going to be paid. And then I reached the house. I can't say that, looking at where my other friends were working from. Some of them were beaten, some of them were tortured, some of them were raped, a lot of things happened to them. But at least for me, the biggest thing I experienced was racism. Oh my God, it was a lot. Not in the family I was working for, but from the relatives. You know, those people live like a community. Every time, yes, but there was racism in this family, a lot, and then the work was a lot, and the work weared my body out, and I got sick. And you know, they hardly treat, so you get sick and be sick. The sickness just grows. But it reached a time when it was very severe, and they realized that I was going to die there. At first they didn't want to release me without my family paying them money. Actually, it's one other thing I want to highlight. All the women who work in domestic work, who work in these houses, are sold. I repeat, buli muwala agenda okukola nga housemaid bamutunda butunzi. Oba ogendedde mu company, oba ogenze na agent. That's the truth.
There is no shortcut.
No. You are sold. Whether you come from Uganda direct to the boss's house, you are sold.
Buli muntu ava wano e Uganda, tunula mu kamera abantu bagamba.
Buli muntu ava oba ovuddewa ng'oggyeko amawanga agamu ng'Abafiripino, kati abaafuba ne baleetawo policies ezicounteringa kafala system. Abawarabu balina system gye bayita kafala. Eyo kafala ekumakinga slave to your boss.
Oba muddu.
Yes. Akugula. Eyo gye bayita sponsorship. Eyo gye bagamba mbu sponsor. Oyo abeeranga sponsor wo aba akuguze. That's why ne woba oli mulwadde, woba oyagala okudda ewaka olina osooka omusasula. You buy yourself back. Your family buys you back. If they can't buy you back, you don't leave. Era Omwarabu muba mulina omusasula ssente z'abaasabye ye z'agamba nti nze nateekamu ssente bwe ziti, because tobeerayo. Asobola okugamba nateekamu $2,000,000, family ye nsasule $2,000,000 ogende. That's how you buy yourself back. Yes.
Olina kwegula.
Yes, that's why I'm telling you. Everybody who is a domestic worker in the GCC, in the Gulf, oli mutunde. Oba wagendera mu company, oba tewagendera mu company, oli under that slavery system of kafala, because it gives your boss all the authority over you. Era kyova olaba abaana bemuwulira bafa, bemuwulira bakola kyoba Omwarabu yamuse, oba yeyese, oba kyekimutuuseeko, oba alwadde. Kati singa ebintu ebyo byali fair, gwolowooza lwaki singa wendwala ng'obulwadde ddala mbufunidde eyo ku mulimu, lwaki boss aba tanzijanjaba? Lwaki talina responsibility? Like, lwaki tebakimuteekako nga boss nti omuntu ono bamukola? Yes. Exactly. Bamukola medical ng'ava ewaka nga mulamu 100%. Naawe n'omuleeta mu nsi yo n'omukolako medical nga mulamu 100%. Naye kano wano ewuwo acquiring ebirwadde, why don't you have an obligation to treat the person alwalidde ku mulimu? Okitegeera? Kyekyo kyenkugamba nti oli yabeera yakugula ebyobulamu tayagala kumanya. Kyova olaba era bakwata abaana ne babajjamu ensigo ne bazikozesa ku bantu baabwe abatalina abalina ensigo endwadde. Ne watabaawo kibeerawo because yakugula.
Akulinako almost.
Yes,
100% rights.
Sina almost. Akulinako 100% rights according to their law. w'olwala asobola okugaana okukujjanjaba tewali kye bajja mukola w'ofa tewali kye bajja mukola talina na gundi egamba tino yafiiridde wange kambayambeko muzeeyo omulambo rather agenda bagamba munsasule ssente zange mutwale omulambo. You see, you buy yourself back even when you die. That is the slavery gye tulimu. Ate ekisinga okunnuma abantu abalina kampani balema okugamba abaana bino ebintu ate nga ge mazima abaana ge balina okumanya nti oyina okugenda. Nze sirwanyisa kutwala abantu bweru kubanga wano tetulina mirimu gimala. That is the truth. Naye bagenze batya tusobola ng'Abafiripino bwe bakikola nti sigamba mbu bo bali 100% fine naye at least bali kalekaleko. Ife Abarabu balina n'enjogera egamba Abannayuganda bali cheap. N'ekirala waabakolako ekintu ekibi agamba tewali nze nsobola okukola buli kimu kuba tewali kigenda kuntuukako kubanga ekisooka nakugula. Ekyokubiri ekyo kyo bakyogera openly I bought you. Tekiriko yadde kwekwekerera nakugula sente zange nnyingi ekyokola. So if I shoot you, rape you, kill you, toyina kyogenda kukola. Era gwe nga gwe oyina kuguma bugumi nobeerawo nogamba naye kaninde ebbanga liggwayo ddi w'oba ofa n'olaajana n'ofuna obuyambi well and good kubanga abo be mulaba abalaajana be batono kubanyigirizibwa abali eyo. Nze nali nfiiriddeyo era by the way n'okomawo omukyala yagamba waliwo omujjawo omukyala gwe nali nkolera naye abagamba mbabuulire omulambo guba muzibu okutambuza osinga omuntu omulamu ate nga waba mulamu abeewabwe tubateeka ku puninga nti n'omuntu wamwe mumuzeeyo bajja kikola naye bw'anaafa ate naffe bijja tu involvingiramu kati mubagambe bamugulire tiketi agende ng'akyali mulamu wakiri afiireeyo okitegeera. And that is not a case of me only. There are so many women tulina betupikinga ku airport nga bamulese ne bamusuula ku airport yeri ayina tiketi weatuukaawo entebe nga naye ali awo tajjukira kintu kyonna tasobola kutambula tayogera takola ki ne babakubira waliwo ali wano okitegeera yeetaaga buyambi naye nga tamanyi nakumanya bigenda maaso bamukasuse bamanyi kati oyo yawedde. So gundi eyo issue ya human trafficking today I can say it's the modern way they are doing slave trade and it comes so beautiful that you cannot resist. Olabira ddala ng'obulamu bwo bukyuse obwavu obugobye mu family but sometimes instead you bring more poverty. Let me take an example of myself. Bazadde bange tebabiriimu angenda naye we nakomawo nga ndi mulwadde baalugwamu. They had to look for money for treatment. Nalina okubeerawo first of all tukomawo nga psychologically we are off. Kyova olaba osanganya abantu ku TikTok nga bagamba banayo bakadama yabaki. They see a lot. They see a lot of things. Era omuntu abeerawo nga obwongo bwe sigamba mbuno bwavaako totally but abeera psychologically not okay. We come back with a lot. Apart from the physical pain, there is also the mental health deficit. Kakati n'okoma ng'owulira n'ensi wagikoowa n'ogezaako okwetta nga tofa n'olabira ddala ng'ensi ekwesibyeko bwesibi. Yes, I reached that time. There was a time I got depressed. I'm tired of the pain. Tried suicide, it didn't work. N'emmotoka nazo nga tezinkoona.
Nga olwoyigire kuba zikuviira.
Yes, but on a serious note, that was a very, very bad experience. Era I'm laughing about it because I'm healed. There are so many people out there who are not healed. Naye nange saawona jjo era mulina okimanya nti it takes long to heal. it takes long to heal. Ate nange agamba nti I healed. It's not 100%. I will not be here and tell you that, oh, I'm 100% fine. No, I'm not. That thing leaves something on you, health-wise and mentally. Physical health and mental health, you don't stay the same. Ate abantu abasinga tebalaba aspect ya mental health mu bantu ababa bakomawo. Naye kambabuulire, there are a lot of mental health issues with survivors of trafficking. Nze abantu bonna abakola mu biyumba, I consider them survivors of trafficking because I know they are working under the kafala system, and the kafala system is a slavery system. So whoever abeera akola mu kiyumba, nze newe musangawa, oba yazimbayo ennyumba oba talina yadde ebibiri, that person is a survivor. Era fe oyo buli mwana avudde mu kiyumba tumuteeka mu category y'aba survivors. And if we are building survivor advocates, or if we are supporting survivors, we consider all of those, because we know, by the way, mwagale, the people who are leading the front line are survivors, because we want to empower them. Kubanga ebiseera ebimu banaye Abarabu abo batuyisa bubi, naye n'okoma weewaka ate ab'ewaka ne bakuyisa bubi nnyo okusinga Abawarabu, because some of our family members, me I was lucky, nze tebaŋŋambako gwe walemererwa. There are those people abakomawo family zaabwe nazo ne zibafuukira ezzike, ogenda otya ebweru n'okomawo nga tolina kyolina ne bamusekerera ne bamufuukira ekizibu, kwegamba eri yonna trauma gy'akomyewo nayo nebeera multiplied wano, n'abeera ng'obulamu kwegamba bumutamira ddala. Kyobola abaana abasinga wakozesa obutwa ne bugwana, emmotoka ne zigaana omutta ng'agenda ku kizimbe waggulu nga yeekasuka. Baali babitandise wano e Uganda, komawo nga yetta, abamu nga beesala obulago, because akomawo n'ewaka gy'akomyewo bamubudde, no one cares, because they see her as a failure, or him. By the way, n'abasajja baba traffickinga bambi, abasajja baba traffickingira ddala. Kati waliwo baganda baffe be batwala Myanmar, naye nga babajja wano babagambye mugenda Thailand kukola. Batuuke Thailand ne babongezaayo mu ba rebels Myanmar, ne batandika okukola nga bano abafere ba ku internet. So trafficking doesn't only happen to women, it also happens to men. And also trafficking doesn't only happen to people who are taken outside of the country, but also inside the country. Yes. How? Abantu abafumbiza abaana nga bato, you are traffickers. Early marriages are a form of human trafficking. Era abantu abafumbiza abaana abato mukikola mu bukyamu, era ogwo musango ogwa naggomola oguli under human trafficking. Abantu abalina abaana awaka nga mukozi wo naye ngali under 18 years, you are a trafficker. Abazadde abasindika abaana abato okola obwa house girl, you are traffickers. Abantu abalina ba house girl mu nju zammwe nga wamujja ewaabwe n'olimba bazadde baabwe bw'ogenda musomesa n'otuuka eyo gy'omututte n'akolanga maidi wo, you are a trafficker. Omuntu awa abaana ddala abakalamojja, kuba abakalamojja be basinga okutunda okuva ewaabwe ne babaleeta ku street okusabiriza. Street begging is one of the unique forms of human trafficking we have in Uganda. Ensi endala tekiri common, naye Uganda fe tuyina that as a unique form of trafficking, street begging and child sacrifice. Tugirina nti abaana abazadde baabwe bennyini babeetundira ne babawa abantu ne babaleeta ku nguudo ne batandika okusabiriza. Era woowa omwana ng'oyo Mukaramojja ssente asabiriza obeera naawe weeyunze ku mukululo gw'okufuelinga trafficking okugenda mu maaso.
Abamu tulowooza nti kuba mutima mulungi.
Kwata ekyokulya mugulire omuwe. So w'okwata ssente n'omuwa obeera oyambyeko trafficker gwazitwalira olw'eggulo okuripootinga ssente z'akoze omulimu ogwo ogenda mu maaso. So that's why we need to tell our people about these things. Towa mwana wa ku luguudo ssente, mugulire ekyokulya, tomuwa ssente. Ndowooza nja komawo ne Julian ayongerezeeko.
Julian, tuwulireko emboozi ya trafficking. Ebintu bino biyingiramu otya okutandika okulwanyisa abantu bano?
Okay. Esooka nkola n'ekitongole, it's a faith-based organization, the Salvation Army. Ate nga Salvation Army eyina mandate okulwanyisa human trafficking. Nti kitongole, it's an NGO, but it's also faith-based. Ekino kiviira ddala ku founder waffe. Founder yagenda okulaba yali mu church naye bwe yagenda ofuluma n'alaba the injustices that were happening around. N'agamba, I think enjiri yange sigenda gireka mu kanisa, ngenda gitwala wabweru. Katawo bwe yakwatagana n'abakyala n'awuliriza emboozi zaabwe nga most of them were doing prostitution, sex work, others were homeless and all that. So nekikakatako founder waffe n'agamba, no, we need to have a department that is fully fledged, that should fight for social justice. Yes, kati nga Salvation Army, we are globally in 133 countries.
Oh wow.
Yes, kati in kati in all those countries, every country
60% covering the whole globe.
Yes. Yeah, so each country where the Salvation Army is, they have a mandate to respond to human trafficking. To responding to human trafficking according to 4 to 8 P's. Globally, nga UN, they respond to trafficking according to 4 P's. That is protection, partnership, prevention and prosecution. Naye fenga Salvation Army twongerezaako endala nnya ezo nga kuliko proof eyo ebeeramu research, kubanga olina okubeera ne evidence to be able to respond. Then policy, of course, we have to come up with policies that help us to inform these decisions that we make. Then participation, tukkiriza nti no buli muntu yenna, especially mu Salvation Army, bw'oba omanyi origin ya Salvation Army, tuyina betwandiise ba pastors, naye enjogera ya Salvation Army bayina enjogera ng'ey'ekijaasi, they are called officers. Kati every officer, every volunteer, every friend of the Salvation Army kimukakatako to be part and parcel of the fight against human trafficking. And then the core enegatta kati bino omusanvu byonna bagiyita prayer. Tukkiriza nti byonna tusobola obikola, naye you cannot achieve much without the aspect of prayer. Kati awo wenyingirira, wetuyingirira nga Salvation Army ne tugamba nti no tugenda kwasaganya n'ebitongole ebirala. Kyova olaba nyambadde Mwagale Foundation in partnership, but also we also believe that this partnership can only be solid with also prayer. But also prayer helps. Yabadde ayogera ku survivors or victims nti newankubadde ali wano founder CEO mulamba, naye there are aspects in her life that have not yet completely healed, emotionally, spiritually, generally spiritual well-being. Katfene tugamba Salvation Army, that is the part that we want to minister to. That's the part that we want to speak to. Nti everyone else, buli omu aja ku repatriatinga, buli omu aja kukola partnership, but tugenda kufuna ba survivors bayinza okufuna legal redress, bafune justice and so forth. But there is that part that is not seen. So as Salvation Army, we shall tackle that as well. We shall not leave it behind. Yes. So ng'ekitongole tukola, we cover all aspects. And there is no way we shall leave any loophole, but to be able to cover. So that ono omuntu wanaavaayo aveeyo nga ali whole and holistic, to be able to fit well in the society.
Okay.
Yes.
In Uganda mufuna cases nga mmeka ze muhandling omwaka nga mu Salvation Army?
Nga Salvation Army okuva January just this year mpaka we twogedde tufunye cases about 30. Just omwaka tegunagwa. And those are few cases kubanga we are not so much into prosecution or protection. Tuli mu prevention aspect ya prevention is basically awareness creation now. But as we are conducting the awareness and the education, that is when now we interface with these cases. So imagine if we were into now protection, where now we have, say, maybe a shelter, or we are exclusively doing repatriation. Loza mwagala asobola kugamba that particular part. So we are just doing just a very tiny percentage of these kinds of rescues. So our baton on you, surely. Yes.
What challenges do you go through as an organization?
Wow, a lot of challenge. One major challenge is resources. Much as we are an organization, that is why there's the aspect of partnership. This work cannot be done alone. You can do everything, naye tosobola kumalayo ekisoka ebyetaago or the requirements that the survivor requires. Ayinza okujja, tuyinza okuba tetulina aspect ya shelter. Tusobola okukubira mwagale or another organization etugamba, could you be having space? Aja gamba oluusa tujudde abantu bajjula shelters ezo. Omuntu no, and you fail to get where to accommodate them, you know. Yeah, so resources are the major challenges. Ekisooka, we are donor funded. Kati, of course, ne donor verako ne limit, you see. Yes, but also being able to identify the right partner, or a partner who has that comprehensive package. Ojja kusanga osange an organization oyina an adult who has come, who needs shelter, nga yetagala ku integrating ne family ye, nga yagamba kansookere wano nfuneko okubudabuzibwa. Kati eno shelter nga restoration, no, you know. Shelter ne kugamba, for us we only taking up to 18 years. Kati nozunga noyo. Police tesobola kumwa accommodating. Ogena nomula nagamba afe, we only taking boys. We only you get. So we still are lacking shelters. First of all, as a country, Kubanga, as far as I know, government
doesn't have any shelter.
Yes, I think they have. Is it one in Karamoja?
No. The shelter, anyway, yes. The shelter they have is a shelter for children, street children. So the survivors from Karamoja are the most prominent in that shelter, and that is the only shelter we have. Yet, some of the survivors also from abroad or from within who are maybe 17, because most organizations don't take in people 16 years and above. And that government facility, I think it takes up to 16. Beyond 16, they don't take. So that there is that gap. We get overwhelmed. We are also still young. Actually, Mwagale is making how many months today?
Yes. So we need a lot of efforts. Efforts are required. CSOs jeziri, naye we are still limited. So that is why everyone must come on board, even individuals, even as parents who are seducing or convincing our children to go and work. You know, katsoke twekubeko mumutima ne tugamba nti, are you even thoughtful of this child who is underage, who is where they are going? Much as the statistics show that most of the traffickers are known, and most of them are actually relatives. And yes, the biggest number, like over 60%. The trafficker is known by, in this case, like the parent. Kakubanga, you have trusted this person. The human trafficking, for it to qualify to be a human trafficking case, it must fulfill 3 elements: the act, the means, and the purpose. This means is this auntie has coerced, has enticed you, convinced you, this child is going to get a better job. I mean, after all, I'm P7 back, leka agende akole over school fees, over pocket money. You know, they will convince you, then you will release your child. You get? So responsibility etukakatako fena okuva ku an individual right up to the national level. So we have that challenge of the element of protection, especially in the shelters aspect. Yanyonyode nti abave weru, in this case, bayita mu bingi naye ate bwe batuuka ate mu nsi yaabwe naffe tubateekako akazito, tuba traumatizing afresh and probably even worse. Kubanga when you're coming from abroad, really you expect to get rest in your own family. Kati no tuka family, me there is a survivor we got from Saudi Arabia, Avera Busia. Yatuka Busia. Actually, Teamanya how she even entered into a taxi from the taxi park to Busia. Kati ndoza she slept. Kati neba musula on the street, because I mean this was a taxi. Yagendo zuka ne yesanga ku street. Kati she picked up herself and she went back to her supposedly family. Now she was an orphan and she was taking care of her younger siblings. She was working there. Whatever she was doing was that echo bacherekereza tebasobola kikunyonyola, but they want the well-being of their family members. Kati yasindikanga sente to these younger siblings. Now when she returned in the state she was in, Kati nagenda nagamba, at least I have been sending money, support and everything, kubanga yali ayina n'omwana nga babeera naye. Yatuukayo ne bamugoba. These are younger siblings I'm talking about. She was the eldest girl. Ne bamugoba ne mugamba, you look, she was terrible, for sure she was terrible. Bw'omulaba ng'olowooza oba ayina leprosy, waliwo ekyamutuuka kweri. You get? So ne bamugoba. And they told her, no, we don't know you. But the only place that she was able to go to was in a church. Kati church nemwaniriza nasobola okutambula olugendo lwa healing. But you see, that healing that she was talking about, it cannot go completely. Kubanga jukira, you sent money to your family, and on arrival, they do not want to associate with you at all. Yet you're the one who built that house that they are staying in. You have supported them, school fees and so forth. See now how you have been rendered homeless, you know. Yeah, so we still need a lot. Psychosocial support is needed. Legal redress. There are a lot of cases. Traffickers are up and about. They are everywhere. And very free. nti ebiseera ebisinga ffe kati ng'ebitongole we concentrate more on the survivor naye we are not looking at now what are we doing to the trafficker kati nosanga nti no prosecution awo eyina weerakinga kubanga n'omwana naye yeetaaga justice because she's a human being who deserves her rights, you know, to be restored. Kati most of the times the traffickers are at large. You get. So, however, there are efforts being made. Ebitongole ebimu bizze nga bitandise okusensitizinga the judiciary and law enforcement balyoke bamanye distinction between human trafficking and these other crimes, maybe like gender-based violence. Kubanga the laws have been, yes, they have been intertwined all together. Naye kakati, slowly and surely, we have seen actually cases that have been increasing gradually. Until at least there are prosecutions that are happening, but there are still gaps that need to be met. So there is a lot that is really required. Yes.
Over to you, Sister. What do you think should be done to stop this vice of human trafficking?
I won't speak anything more other than what Julian has spoken about. First of all, the awareness creation is very important because truthfully, people don't know about human trafficking. Some people think it's those who have not gone to school that are trafficked. But trust me, I know there are so many people with degrees that have been trafficked. Me, I had even almost just graduated from LDC before they trafficked me. So I want you to know it doesn't matter whether you know the law or you don't. Every person is a potential victim of trafficking. Even you. You are even me again, the way I am here, I am still a candidate of trafficking. I can traffic you or you can traffic me. Yes. Everyone can be a trafficker and everyone can be trafficked. It doesn't matter who, even the president can be trafficked. So trafficking doesn't discriminate that, you know, people of such and such education level or color are the ones who are trafficked. Because even the whites are trafficked. We have people who are being trafficked from all over different countries and continents, trafficked here in Uganda. People in their countries are promising them jobs in Uganda. That is one of the things that puzzle me. People have conviction tongues. They bring you from Europe, Asia, and they tell you there are jobs in Uganda, so come. There are so many people, even fellow Africans, many of them come here being promised jobs. And yet there are so many. Yeah.
And I think you know, mostly internal trafficking, external trafficking, but we have not even talked about the refugees part. They are also vulnerable. They are okay. Before I go to the last words, then I have made an analysis with this little experience I've had in this particular space. For those that are trafficked abroad, especially abroad, let's start with just our neighboring Kenya here. Most of them have had trends of early marriages, child marriages, of course domestic servitude, and this especially the domestic servitude aspect is not just for girls, even boys. They go to graze cows, do construction, and things like that. When you see the Arab world here, they consent. Majority of them, of course, have gone with companies. A few have gone with individuals, but majority are companies, and they what they signed for is not what was bargained for. When you look at countries like India, most of them know that they are going to do prostitution, especially the ladies who go. But like she said, that in as much as they know what they are going to do, when it gets there, the business is twisted, that it's the trafficker now who gets the money. The clients that she was promised that she would get are not the clients, you know. Now they go knowing that these are a category of clients. Most of them are usually tourists. But when they get there, they're actually Africans and they exploit them. It gets me to question, for those who go to India and they are told that there are jobs, India is over 1.3 billion in population. Majority are also on the streets. Professionals. Nti bana abana abayindi nabo basoma naye bali ku street. Kati gomuddugavu otwala skill chi that will be different. So even if you have actually gone genuinely ne bakugamba nti nogenze kukola omulimu or maybe ogwa housemaid or whatever, owunzika ng'ogenze ku street. Two, abayindi bali segregative abo olaba. Tebasobola kkiriza muddugavu mu nyumba yaabwe. You get? Kati bw'ogenda China, Hong Kong, recently we are working on a case where they went under a marriage certificate. Tina abachina bagamba eri China bw'oba oli muddugavu, especially bw'obanga toli skilled, tosobola kufuna mulimu. So kati to be able to go ofune semi-skilled kind of work, maybe working in a factory, you sign a marriage certificate from here. Kati bwe baatuukayo, there was no job. Now they needed the marriage. They were supposed to be married, you get. So there are many complexities, of course, for each country. Kati es omuntu wakugamba nti no akutwala wabweru sooka okola analysis nga bwe yagambye, weebuuzeeko gwe lwaki oyo trafficker oba oyo omuntu akugamba tokikweke kiteke lwaki ayagala okikweke. That should be red flag number one. Nti tayagala abantu bo bakitegeere. You get? So that should be an eye opener for you now. Actually, the more reason for you to surely ask. My last word is tugenda kubeera ne symposium. And a symposium has to do with cross-border trafficking. We are going to focus on Uganda and India. Lwaki kubanga since 2023 tugenza okulaba ne tulaba trend y'aba abaana betu repatriating girls from India. The levels have increased, the numbers have increased. And to Gamba, what is it that is happening between these two countries? Then we established that there were no bilateral agreements. I know we have bilateral agreements with some of the Arab countries, but of course they are weak. There are a lot of complexities there. But let us start with bilateral agreements with India. How can these girls be protected? Maybe they are voiceless there. Ntino osanga ne Ugandan High Commission in India teina much say with the Ministry of Ministry of External Affairs. Yes. Nga ba limited bagamba there is no bilateral agreement, there is nothing much we can do to this. Naye webanga waliwo a binding document. Yes. Nze nsuubira there is a level of protection that these girls can get. Yes. So Kati, it is one of those things that we are working on to ensure that there's a bilateral agreement. So that symposium is going to take place on the 24th next month, and it's attracting many stakeholders, including, of course, our fellow partners, the NGOs. India as a country itself will be represented, international organizations, the academia, everyone who is a stakeholder, especially when it comes to decision making or policy development. We need to start having conversations geared towards the bilateral agreement. So we are doing let me call it talks that are geared towards the symposium. So I'm calling on everyone. Media has played a very important role in being like a conduit to trafficking, but also to prevention. So how we use media also matters. You know, you can see how this BBC documentary went viral to the extent that the parliament had to now sit and take decisions. So that is the power of media. So we are calling on media that even during this symposium, we are inviting you. We are inviting other, of course, media stations to be part of this, so that we can put these both governments on the round table and discuss way forward, because these are our relatives, these are our sisters, these are our mothers, these are our siblings. We cannot just wait until when the lion enters your home, then that's when you will start making noise. You can even do the prevention, you know, from afar. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It has been a great show. Abaddeko nga mutulaba mukozi kyamaanyi nnyo okuva wetandikidde, naye abakulu bano tujja kuba tubakomyawo tebinaggwa, kuba this is a continuous battle. Tululwana paka olugenda okuggwa, era tubeebaza okuba nti mubadde naffe, era tujja kuba tubakomyawo time and time again. Ne symposium yennyini tujja kuba tubatuusaako ebifaayo byonna, mujja kuba mubiraba wano ku Mbale Express TV. Obadde mulabi mulungi paka omulungi omulala.